Man, welcome back to another episode of the Think Successfully Room. This is a platform where we focus on building mindsets, we building character, bringing value to both you and your people, and aligning your body with your intelligence. I'm your host, QB So Effing Amazing. This is Tiffany Ingram, and together we talk about the evolution of technology, which we all know is artificial intelligence. Tiff, we got an interesting one today. We definitely got an interesting one today. So I don't even know how to really start, but I would say this: Elon Musk merging XAI with SpaceX. And so when I sent you that, first of all, what was your thoughts when I first sent that over to you?
So when I initially read it, what instantly popped into my head is that song by is it by Kanye West where he said, "One man shouldn't have all that power," right? It's a verse. It ain't a song. It's a verse. And so this is a powerful merger, right? And I didn't understand how powerful initially. I just saw the validation at 1.2 something trillion or something like that. And then reading into it, I'm like, understanding what Elon's already doing that I didn't know that he was doing with SpaceX. And then just XAI and some of the, again, what's all included in that, because there's some products and services in that I didn't know about. And then some of the other governance or compliance issues within that. So this sent me down a rabbit hole to really, truly understand why I should even care. So again, why some of your viewers should even care about this, and what are some of the ramifications if this truly comes to fruition with everything that he's basically putting in place, or the plan that he's putting in place to do. So this is huge. People need to follow this one.
This is different. I think they definitely need to stay up on this one. So when I the first time I read it, I immediately thought of, I reference the Jetsons all the time, and I'm like, damn, colonizing Mars, like that's kind of like, man, who does that? Like to have that amount of money and power to even say something like that is kind of like, damn, what the fuck? So, before we get into the beef of the episode, Tiff, I first want to explain to the people what XAI is, what SpaceX is, and why he may be merging both companies. Or I shouldn't even say merging SpaceX into XAI, but he's merging XAI into SpaceX. So XAI is an artificial intelligence company that was founded by Elon Musk. And the whole purpose of XAI was to understand the nature of the universe, right? Just to summarize it. SpaceX is a private aerospace manufacturer and space transportation company, and this was founded in 2002 by Elon Musk. And their purpose is to, so understand when you travel out to space, it's expensive. It's usually a one and done. So what SpaceX has done was created aircrafts where you can reuse them. Right. So that's one thing that they're known for. And it keeps the costs extremely low. And then they're also trying to colonize Mars. So before I pass it over to Tiff, I want to explain. Oh, go ahead, Tiff. My fault.
I was going to say one more thing that I think your viewers need to be aware of. Like, they use this to transport. SpaceX uses these rockets and stuff to transport satellites. They use it to transport people and products, and for NASA, right? So this ain't some tiddly little thing. It's like he's working with NASA to transport people, and 95% of the things that are transported out into orbit, Elon SpaceX is doing, right? So I wanted to make sure that's in there, because that's huge. And when we start talking about the other things, then it'll make sense why he merged these two. But he has a solid company with SpaceX.
and
And
what's
then
and
the
when you,
access.
go ahead, my
Go
fault,
ahead.
Tiff. I ain't catch that when you said what now?
No, I was just saying the access to like all of the scientific innovation as it pertains to space, right?
Yeah.
So he's in that market, in that arena, he's doing the thing, and he's understanding again, he's partnered with NASA. So I keep saying
which
that
is
for a reason.
which is big. So now that Tiff brought that up, this makes sense why SpaceX is one of the most successful private companies there is, because they're responsible for a lot of the things that NASA is doing. So yeah, appreciate you for adding that, Tiff, because I definitely forgot about the NASA thing. So I'm glad you threw that
Man.
in there. Uh, but yeah, so it's a few reasons. So I immediately asked, okay, why would he merge the two
Hmm.
companies, right? So just to just to give y'all a gist without getting into the whole legal aspect of it. So XAI, so a lot of it has to do with debt obligations, lawsuits, and just different liabilities that came along with XAI. So he avoided that by merging that company with SpaceX. The second thing is AI has a demand for a lot of computing power, right? So when we think of Earth, we just don't have enough power needed to sustain these data centers that he's trying to build. So let's,
Hmm.
you know what I'm saying, let these data centers, so it's kind of like, okay, so if we don't have the computing power or the things that we need here on Earth, let's send these data centers out into orbit. You know what I'm saying? Where we
Hmm.
can utilize solar energy or solar power to power these data centers without limitation. You know what I'm saying? The other thing I came across of why he might have merged is because, I mean, we just said SpaceX purpose is to colonize Mars. Mars is just Mars is just too far for real time Earth control, right? So it's kind of like, from what I looked into, it would take about 5 to 20 minutes to communicate, in real time, 5 to 20 minutes to communicate from Earth to Mars,
Hmm.
which is too long to really, I guess, keep control of whatever is going on out there. But it's kind of like, if there's satellites in orbit that's around Mars or on the surface of Mars, and those satellites have XAI software, now, you know what I'm saying, we have XAI in the proximity of Mars that can make adjustments almost instantly, as far as
Yeah.
adjusting landing paths that can be fixed, life support systems, maybe even managing resources. So it's almost like the artificial intelligence acts as like a 24/7 brain. 20
Yeah.
24/7 brain.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. So yep, that's what I came across. Unless you came across something different, you can add that in if you want to.
Well, when we look at, so yes, he wants to colonize Mars. That's the long
Mm,
game, right?
yeah.
He wants to build these, or even these orbital terrains of where these data centers can live, right? So when you
Yeah.
think of like what is something that we can build and have it orbit around, so it's either they're going to colonize a planet, or have this thing in orbit, like orbiting around, and providing the necessary power to run these AI infrastructures, again, without endangering Earth. But let's talk
Hmm.
about short term, right? So short term, XAI is like literally um like massively consuming cash, right? I had to think of my words correctly. It's not as profitable, because it takes a lot of money and resources to train this model. So we're talking about Grok, right? Grok. And so by making this decision, he's now putting XAI in the position to continue to train, continue to get better, like, and really raise the stakes as being a contender on the large language model leaderboard. Because
Hmm.
a lot of people don't use it. Some people do, But again, it works. You know, I've had people ask me, they have different solutions by Grok. I've not used it, but
I haven't used
you
it.
know,
Yeah.
yeah. So there are people that use it, but in order to be a contender like with OpenAI, they need that investment. So SpaceX is definitely can dump money over there. Now,
Hmm.
also, we talked real briefly, and I'm not going to go down the rabbit hole about the legal issues concerning Grok specifically. And there's a lot of legal issues domestically and internationally that are
Mm,
wrapped up into um, how Grok is allowing users to use images and not consent. And it's impacting kids too. So there's some lawsuits again, California. There's a Jane Doe versus XAI case. The UK's looking at them, and some other entities are looking at them for these violations. Okay, so
mm,
that money again with X is going to allow them to again do whatever they need to do because some of these fines for some of the images that were created, the sexually suggestive images that were created without the person's consent or like again child material, it per violation it could be 25K. So I don't know how many of these things were created. So you have that. So again, from a financial standpoint, that's the thing. But did
mm.
you see where they talked about he has an internet space um it's a what is it, it's an internet service that I guess they use in space, Starlink. Did you see that?
Starlink, the network of
Yes.
satellites. Yeah.
And
Yeah.
so it's like, okay, so not only do you have these rockets, you have an internet based system, you know, with the satellites, and it's an actual internet system. You have a large language model, you have a social media component too, that's also, which is X, formerly known as
Yeah.
Twitter. Like this, he's building one heck of an ecosystem, right? And guess
Crazy.
what? It's going to, they're talking about an IPO is expected mid 2026. So
Think
going to the
June.
stock market with it. Yes.
Yeah, I
So,
think June.
and he's looking at trying to raise what, 50 billion, I think. I think it said 50 billion in there.
Yeah,
So
somewhere
we
around
look
there.
Yeah. So we're looking at all of these things. Yeah, he's got his long-term goal, but how is he cashing in right now? And I think by putting all these things together and really positioning himself even in the market, um, that's going to be huge. I mean, he's playing the short and long game and
Yeah.
he's playing to win.
When I and they the move he made with merging XAI into SpaceX to avoid lawsuits and just legal liabilities, they called it a triangular merger, I believe is the
Mhm. Mhm.
I forgot the exact terms, but the play was smart, which gave him more time to execute what he wanted to execute.
Yeah. And money.
Yeah, and money. It was it's funny you brought up the IPO because that was actually gonna be the next segment
Oh,
is the IPO. You know what I'm saying? So
okay.
it's like that's why we work together. I'm like, okay, yeah, she brought it up. She definitely so
I was
I
digging
wanted
in
to
like,
yeah, that IPO because that's important for people to know. So if it's
yeah.
if it's available for you to, you know what I'm saying, for those who don't know what IPO it stands for initial public offering, I believe.
Yeah.
That's just him turning the company, making the company from private to public, and this allows investors to invest into the
Yeah.
company, and this is ultimately how they're going to generate the money to be able to execute these projects.
Mhm.
So yeah, that is expected in June of 2026, I
Mhm.
believe. But for those who the infrastructure play is I know we talked about the satellites, but I wanted to go further into the infrastructure play.
Construction.
So let's say SpaceX, right, is responsible for the rockets, right? Without the rockets, nothing gets into orbit, right? So
Mhm.
SpaceX launches. satellites will have a job to launch satellites into orbit, and those satellites will have XAI software installed onto those satellites, and then they will form a network which we use similar to Starlink, or I think they will call it Starlink, something like that. And those will operate XAI, and from there they will be able to learn and pretty much act without the limitation that Earth is putting on that
Yeah.
process. Yeah.
And so yeah, just that alone, like when you start connecting the dots and seeing how, like, to the average person reading this, it just looks like he's throwing a bunch of stuff together, right?
Yeah.
But like you said, he's building an infrastructure where he can embed his stuff into, again, rockets and all of these things. And yeah.
And I can't front, Tiff. The shit is kind of like genius, like dead fucking
It
genius. I'm
is.
like, man, what the fuck? Because I was actually mad, like, man, why I can't think of no shit like this? You know what I'm saying? Like the fact that the fact that is one guy, or I'm not gonna say like he don't have a team, but the fact that he the mastermind behind all this shit is kind of like, okay, Elon Musk is different, man. So and last time we spoke, right, I was still trying to wrap my head around it, right? So
Mhm,
I literally
mhm,
been coming back and forth from the material for the past, 6-7 days. And when
mhm,
I finally got it, I'm like, damn, this shit is genius. And I
mhm,
know whoever is watching, for those who's watching this video, it may not make sense the first time you hear it, but
mhm,
the more and more you
mhm,
go do your own research, or the more you listen to this and you begin to put the pieces together, you will realize that what he's doing is kind of like, damn, colonizing Mars. Then you got
mhm,
the IPO, XAI merging into SpaceX, satellites, a network of satellites. So when you put these pieces together, you will begin to see the genius behind what he's doing. And when I hear things like this, it makes sense of why he has so much power and so
mhm.
much money to be able
Able to
to
do it.
have the position to be able to do this type of shit.
One thing that, again, we talk about the good, bad, and the ugly with things, right? And so
Yeah,
with this person having all of that power, like, you would have one man and his board controlling all of this. Now,
yeah,
if we see, and we do right now, that, to your, like we talked about earlier, not open, XAI is having issues. There are legal concerns, there are security concerns, right?
hmm,
If this process or what he's going through hasn't tightened up, meaning, I use the term governance so much, but it's like, if you don't have strong securities in place to prevent the misuse of this, when you put it out into Mars or the solar system, that's even more of a
yeah,
potential issue, right? Because if you can't keep it safe now, how are you going to keep it safe there? And so those are some of the things, along with, again, one person owning or being able to do as they please with this. That's concerning too. So there's just so
yeah,
much stuff, again, the long game, but even in the short realm, like him being able to do this merger, bring it to market this year. These are things we're going to see this year, right? That's all of that. And so there's really going to be some talk around the validation process to even get it to IPO, because there's so many components. It's not clear
hmm,
cut what he's doing here, because it's something new. And it's like, to be the first is to be the first. Like, what are you measuring Elon Musk merger up against? So they don't
yeah.
quite know how to validate it. So that's going to take a little time too. But uh yeah, I was speechless. I'm even speechless now, because I'm looking at all my notes, and it's a lot of stuff
It's a
that's
lot.
going on
It's
with
a
this
lot of
that I'm
stuff.
like, you know, he pulled this off. It's like that
Yeah, and
movie,
he pulled
what,
this
Usual
off.
Suspects? He's Kaiser Sose.
Yeah, he pulled this shit off. I'm like, I'm gonna be mind blown. Like, wow, that's it. Could you imagine? Could you imagine? Well, first, before I finish, before I get to that thought, another thing, another legal liability, another legal lawsuit or lawsuit they was dealing with was the pollution, not the
Yes,
not the plant in Memphis, but I think it was a data center in Mississippi where
it was
they caused
Memphis.
some loss. Was it
I thought it was
Memphis?
it. Yeah, I thought
Oh, it
that
might,
was
yeah, because
Memphis.
that's the
Yeah,
one we talked about that the
yeah,
pollution out in Memphis. So that's another lawsuit. But yeah, back to my thought though. Like, could you imagine sitting at the table and you know what I'm saying? Y'all probably having a business meeting, the team sitting around, and motherfucker come in and sit at the table like, man, yeah, so I want to build this AI, this AI data center. We don't have enough power here on Earth to be able to sustain that. So let's just take it out of space. We're just gonna send them up out of space, and we just gonna use the sun to power these databases. And to be able, that's what's mind blowing to me, and the fact that like it's so much information. I don't really think you can really, I guess, grasp everything at one time.
yeah,
But as long as you
yeah,
have a basic understanding of as far as the flow and what's going on,
yeah.
I think when you begin to pay more attention to it, it'll start to make more sense to you. You know,
And
yeah.
here's the other thing. I'm gonna go back to something else that you say. You talked about the um the lawsuit as it pertains to the environment and the whole reason why they're even thinking about taking this to Mars, right? Or in the space orbit, because it's using up a lot of resources and it's virtually negatively impacting people and their health. Now,
Hmm.
here's one thing that I thought about too when you initially sent this to me. And I think I mentioned it to you before we had our conversation. It was we don't know how stable the atmosphere is in space to be able
Yeah,
to
that's true.
handle all the emission that comes from this process, right?
Hmm.
So, what can all of this, the same effect that it's having on Earth, what is that effect going to be in space? Because it's
Hmm.
going to affect something. Something's going to happen. You cannot tell me that, oh nope, it's just going to release in the air and nothing's going to happen, right? It's going to change because you're adding a new element there. And so,
Well, I didn't think about that. Yeah, that's true.
so who's doing the research? Just like we said they should have did in Memphis. Okay, what's the good, bad, and ugly about this? Let's look
Mhm.
ahead. What can happen? What can happen if you release too much of this gas in this space, right? Um,
Yeah,
because we could be so advanced that we damage ourselves and the planets around us. So
that is true.
curious to see what that will look like because again, learning from what's happening here on Earth, like what will that conversation look like? What and NASA should be giving him some kind of insight. He working with him. So you know,
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
that is smart though. Like, cause you don't know what elements is. Like, I'm not really knowledgeable about what happens outer space. You know what I'm saying? So,
Hmm.
but yeah, that got to be some type of concern. Like, what happened when a particular or a certain element mixes with the you know what I'm saying, with the pollution that's being released into space. You know, so yeah,
Not
that's
only what
something.
happens today, what happens over time? Because nothing may not happen
Yeah,
today,
that's
but
true.
like people that have children, what's going to be the impact on them? Will we all be walking around with a gas mask on because we all can't breathe?
Yeah, yeah, so that actually would be something to look into. I'm sure is
Yeah,
from like it probably ain't came to light yet, but then I'm sure
yeah,
because like they don't really they talk about it, you know what I'm saying, but they don't
yeah,
really give you like the downside
yeah,
to this
yeah.
project, you know. So I think that's definitely something to look into that I'm gonna take the time to look into. So yeah, Tiff, I think everything like out of all the information we that came across, that is the most that is the simplest way we can put it without like making it sound too confusing.
Overly complex.
uh
Yeah,
Cause it like when you hear other podcast episodes talking about it, or maybe even if it's on the news, they say a lot of lingo that come off
Mm-hmm.
as confusing to the average person. So I think we did a pretty good job with making it sound simple and just straightforward,
Yeah. Yeah.
and not over complicated. Is it anything else you want to add on this subject?
I just want to encourage people to follow this story. Like follow this story and start to see who else is starting to do things like this, because there were other companies mentioned that are looking into possibly moving you know what I'm saying, their stuff to outer space. Like, it's a race. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Elon Musk is just in the news because he merged two of his own companies together to do this. And he's
Hmm.
very, very vocal with it. But other companies are looking at how to do this too. So as we continue to look at how AI is reshaping the world, this is one story to watch.
And I would say this, like, some shit we never thought we probably would experience in our lifetime,
Hmm.
we gonna experience it. We
Hmm.
gonna see it unfold, and we gonna see if it's a success or not. Like, but to have an idea of colonizing Mars is not something that I would have thought of. And
Me either.
I mean, I'm in my early 30s. Like that, I still gotta, that's something I'm gonna
Hmm.
watch happen. So for me, it's kind of like, and I'm sure for you, it's kind of like, damn, like sending people on Mars, like to where they can. That's different. So, just to summarize this whole, just to put this, everything me and Tiff done discussed, just to put this in flow for y'all, right? So you got IPO, which is initial public offering, right? This is him turning a private company to a public company, and this is what will allow investors to invest in that company and ultimately, help fund the projects that were talked about. Those
Hmm.
funds will go towards building rockets. Rockets will be responsible for launching AI satellites, which those satellites will have XAI software in orbit, and because they're so close in proximity, it will help support the missions on Mars, and pretty much build autonomous colonies. And
Hmm.
that's pretty much the flow of it, y'all. So I definitely encourage whoever is listening to this to, go do more research, and it's something to stay on
Yeah.
top of. So when things do unfold, it don't catch you off guard because you've seen it coming.
Yeah.
So
And
yeah.
literally look at how, if you, because there was one thing that did I write it down? I know I saw it, because I asked Perplexity as I was looking up stuff. I said, why should the average person even care about this, right? Like, what is it
Mhm.
to me? If this man wants to do all this with his money, like, what does it matter? And it said that, here's why non-tech people should really, really care. The everyday impact could be Starlink plus XAI means one entity could truly shape how remote communities get online, how information is filtered, and how powerful models are embedded into critical infrastructures, from agricultural to logistics, right? And then market and pension exposure. If the combined companies IPO at a trillion plus valuation, it will likely end up in a major index fund and retirement portfolio. So, execution failures or governance blowups wouldn't just hit tech savvy spectators. It could hit your pension if it's seen as something that. So here's some of the things, right, outside of the tech stuff, that you should be mindful of how this is going to show up, because it could be in your
Wow.
pension fund.
No,
So
you definitely touch on something I wasn't even thinking about. I'm like, damn, the pensions. Yeah, so
because
that, yeah, so
yeah,
that's
that they be looking for stuff like that.
that's crazy. Like, yeah, so I think this I think this alone, like, man, this is why it's even more important to pay attention to the news or just what's happening around you, because in some way it's going to affect you. Whatever is happening in this world, in some way is going to affect you, and you need to
Yeah.
see it coming before it happens, so
Yeah.
yeah. And Tiff, I think that was pretty informative. I think that was very informative, considering the fact that a week ago we was trying to wrap our head around, like, okay, what exactly is he doing? And
Yeah.
y'all, we had to postpone the show because of that. And I'm like, I
Listen.
ain't finna hop in, and I don't even understand it.
No.
So yeah, y'all, as always, make sure you subscribe to the YouTube channel. Make sure you give sis a follow. IG information is in the description. My IG information is in the description. And yeah, y'all, make sure y'all subscribe, follow us on IG, and as long as we see some form of support, we'll continue to keep dumping out this informative content, y'all. So without that being said, life is good. Life is wonderful. Be blessed to be alive. Self-sufficiency is how you survive. To the kings and queens, to the gods and goddess, forever and always, think successfully. It sucks.